Imagine the dust-choked air of a distant frontier city, thick with the scent of fear and smoke from burning homes. Hooves thunder in the distance as Assyrian chariots bear down, their bronze wheels glinting under a merciless sun. Screams rise, then fall silent under the swing of blades. In the center stands the king, Esarhaddon, his face hidden behind a veil, his voice calm as he orders the survivors chained and marched away. This wasn't random violence. This was a system, a machine designed to break wills, erase identities, and remind the world that resistance meant oblivion. But that wasn't the end of it. Not yet. What you're about to hear involves deportation, execution, and the systematic humiliation of conquered peoples. These events are documented in ancient inscriptions and chronicles, but they remain deeply disturbing. We focus here on understanding the machinery of power, not exploiting the suffering. If you need to step away, that's okay. For those continuing, remember, this wasn't chaos. This was control. This wasn't just conquest. This wasn't madness born of one man's cruelty. This was a machine, an empire built on calculated terror, where every act of brutality served a purpose, to hold together the largest realm the world had yet seen, stretching from the Nile to the mountains beyond the Tigris. Esarhaddon ruled it all from 681 to 669 BC, inheriting a throne soaked in his own father's blood. He rebuilt cities, conquered Egypt, and enforced loyalty through fear that echoed across generations. But why does this matter now? Because power unchecked always finds new ways to justify itself. And in Esarhaddon's world, the line between strength and sadism blurred until it vanished. The Neo-Assyrian Empire wasn't new when Esarhaddon took the throne. It had been grinding forward for centuries, swallowing kingdoms like a relentless tide. By his time, it dominated Mesopotamia, the Levant, parts of Anatolia, and eyed Egypt hungrily. Cities like Nineveh gleamed with palaces adorned in glazed bricks, libraries stuffed with clay tablets recording everything from star omens to tax ledgers. The army was a wonder: iron weapons, siege engines, cavalry that struck like lightning. But holding it together, that required more than walls and warriors. It needed a bureaucracy of fear, governors reporting every whisper of rebellion, spies in every court, oracles consulted for every decision. At the heart sat the king, seen as chosen by the god Ashur. Approach him? You knelt, veiled, eyes down. Esarhaddon leaned into this. Plagued by illness, fevers, rashes, depression, he hid his frailty, ruling from fortified palaces outside the bustling centers. Paranoia gripped him early. His father, Sennacherib, had razed Babylon in a fit of rage, then paid for it with his life, murdered by Esarhaddon's own brothers in a temple ambush. Esarhaddon wasn't born a monster. He was shaped into one, the youngest son. Overlooked at first, he watched his father favor others, then switch heirs like pieces on a game board. When Sennacherib named him successor, it shattered the family. Brothers plotted, struck, fled. Esarhaddon marched back from campaign, crushed the rebels in a swift civil war, then purged. Families of conspirators executed, palace guards dismissed, or worse. He spared no one who might threaten the line. That turning point crystallized everything. From then on, trust became a luxury he couldn't afford. Male relatives, suspect, officials, watched. Even his sons would later be divided, one for Assyria, one for Babylon, to prevent unity against him. But the machine demanded fuel, and the fuel was terror. Picture a young woman from a distant Median city. Let's call her Liana, daughter of a local chief, raised in the shadow of rugged mountains where horses roamed free and tribes paid loose tribute to far-off powers. She was proud, skilled with a bow, dreaming of leading raids like her brothers. Life was hard but free until the Assyrians came demanding more. The confrontation began quietly. Messengers arrived with demands: horses, silver, loyalty oaths. Her father resisted, allying with rivals. Esarhaddon's response was swift. Armies poured in, cities besieged. When her people's stronghold fell, the survivors were sorted like livestock. Warriors struck down, chiefs beheaded, their heads paraded. Women and children, especially the young and noble, marched in chains to Nineveh. Liana arrived in the great city, dust-caked, defiant. Guards shoved her into the palace complex, where veiled figures whispered orders. The king demanded submission displays, conquered royals forced to bow, tribute paraded publicly to humiliate and warn. For Median nobles, it went further. Daughters of chiefs, virgins symbolizing purity and lineage, were taken into the royal household, integrated through marriage or concubinage, their bloodlines absorbed to bind fractious tribes. This wasn't passion, this was policy. Esarhaddon's inscriptions boast of distant Medes submitting, bringing gifts, accepting governors. Treaties with Median vassals survive, oaths sworn under threat of curses. Refuse, cities burned, populations scattered. Accept. Your daughters secured the peace, their children raised Assyrian. Liana faced the choice: refuse, and her family perished. Submit, and she became part of the machine, displayed at court, her former life erased. The act itself, implied in silence. Chronicles note deportations, tributes in people, but the aftermath lingered. Hybrid children, loyalties forged in chains. This wasn't about one woman, this was about the system. Median chiefs sent horses, thousands, the empire's lifeblood. In return, Assyria protected some from rivals, but always extracted more. Raids continued if tribute lagged. One chief, seeking aid against enemies, brought lapis and stallions to Nineveh, only to swear eternal loyalty. The machine spread. In Sidon, a rebel king fled by sea, captured, beheaded. His head hung around a loyalist's neck in parade. Nobles marched humiliated. In Egypt, Esarhaddon stormed Memphis, capturing royal families, deporting them north, everywhere. The message: submit or vanish. But breath for a moment, amid the dust and blood, there were quiet ironies. Esarhaddon, the terror, rebuilt Babylon, brick by brick, atoning for his father's sin. He consulted oracles obsessively, fearing divine wrath. His mother, Nakia, wielded power unseen before, negotiating, advising, a woman in a man's machine. Yet, escalation came. Median raids persisted. One leader, perhaps Kashtaratu, defied openly, allying with Scythians and Cimmerians. Esarhaddon struck hard, defeating chiefs near distant mountains. More cities submitted. More daughters arrived. The household grew, a living map of conquest. From a witness's view, an Assyrian scribe, perhaps, recording tributes, you saw the efficiency, caravans of horses, silver, people. Median bodyguards even protected the royal family, their loyalty bought with status. But whispers spread, raids in the east, unrest in vassal lands. A survivor might recall the march west, villages emptied, families torn, whole regions depopulated to weaken resistance. Numbers in human terms, thousands displaced, lineages broken. The peak came in Egypt. Esarhaddon, ill but driven, marched south. Memphis fell. The Kushite pharaoh fled, his court captured, royal women and children sent north. Another layer in the machine. For the first time, an Assyrian king claimed king of Egypt. But Overreach cracked it. Constant campaigns drained resources. Paranoia peaked, conspiracies uncovered, officials massacred, health failed. On the road back from Egypt, Esarhaddon died. His sons inherited Ashurbanipal in Assyria, Shamash-shum-ukin in Babylon. The machine hummed on, Ashurbanipal's library preserved knowledge. His wars crushed rebels. But cracks widened. Medes united. Babylon revolted. Modern eyes found the proof in clay prisms and tablets unearthed in Nineveh and Assur. Inscriptions boast conquests, list tributes, chronicles record campaigns. Archaeologists piece together palaces, reliefs showing parades of captives. What does it teach? Power's machine grinds people into submission, absorbing even bloodlines to endure. But it breeds resentment. The Medes, once tribute bearers, later sacked Nineveh with Babylonians. The empire fell. Echo the opening. The dust settles, chariots depart, captives march away, lives remade in chains. What changed? The machine rolled on until it didn't. Those meant to vanish didn't. Their stories survive in stone and clay. Liana and countless others, absorbed, silenced, but remembered. Because we listen, they were meant to disappear, but they didn't. And now, they're here with you. Because you chose to listen. If this story stayed with you, drop a comment below. What surprised you most about how empires used humiliation as a weapon? Your thoughts keep history alive. Until next time.